Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Test Automation U Sneak Peek with the brilliant and thought-provoking Angie Jones. I think there are not enough superlatives to describe the amazing Angie Jones, but I'm going to give it a quick go anyway. As Senior Developer Advocate at Applitools, Angie Jones specializes in test automation strategies and techniques. She's a world-renowned keynote speaker and thought leader, a pillar of the test automation community. Angie can be often found speaking and teaching at conferences around the globe, as well as writing in-depth tutorials and blog posts on angiejones.tech. Angie is also a master innovator and has over 25 patented inventions under her name. With all that going on, I'm surprised she still has free time to volunteer, but she does at Black Girls Code, where she teaches coding workshops to young girls in an effort to attract more women and minorities to tech. And now Angie is heading the most innovating test automation project to date, Test Automation U, a project she will tell you all about right now. So Angie, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Adi. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the sneak peek of Test Automation U. I am so excited to share this project with you. Thank you for that great introduction, Adi. As she mentioned, I'm an automation engineer at heart. I'm a developer advocate at Applitools, and my job is to help you succeed at test automation. I do that by speaking at tech conferences, by teaching workshops, by producing content about test automation strategies and techniques. Now, I've been in test automation for 15 years now, and I've worked at companies such as IBM and Twitter, as well as several others. I travel the world helping companies with their test automation strategies. So I've seen a lot. And I know that there's lots of companies that are seeking skilled automation engineers, and there's lots of people who are seeking to enhance their automation skills to be able to meet that demand. So, in addition to the other ways that I help automation engineers, I'm now also leading this amazing initiative called Test Automation University. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a sneak peek into Test Automation U. I'll explain what it is exactly, why we're doing this, who's involved, where it lives, and maybe I'll even throw out a couple of surprises for you. So what is Test Automation U? Well, it's an online learning platform geared specifically towards test automation. The courses are of no cost to you, so you don't have to worry about trying to get management approval or paying out of your own pocket. There's lots of different skill levels and interests within test automation, so there will be a variety of schools or majors such as foundations, programming, stuff around tools like Selenium and Cypress, as well as others, real world case studies, and more. Now, I can't do this alone. As much as I would love to, it's only so many hours in my day. So I've gathered industry leading thought leaders to give diverse schools of thought, so you don't have to be limited to the gospel according to Angie. So why do we need this? Well, there is such a demand for automation engineers, and it's increasing even more as companies are adopting agile and DevOps approaches. There's also a ton of information online, almost too much, right? It's scattered all over the place on people's blogs, on people's websites, their companies' websites. It's everywhere. So I get a lot of feedback from people who are looking to learn more about test automation. They say, Angie, there's just so much. I don't even know where to begin with this. So we want to offer guided pathways, a one-stop shop to help you navigate the courses that you should take on your automation journey. Then who is going to be involved? So we have lots of people involved already. I love to share my knowledge, but again, I can't do this all by myself. The vision I have for you is bigger than just me. So I've recruited all of these smart individuals who have massive experience in test automation. And so you can learn from them as well, because I don't know everything and I don't want you to be limited to just my knowledge. So here are some other folks who are going to help out, and let me introduce you to them. So, of course, I'm going to be involved. Before we get into any tooling or technical education, I think it's really critical to understand the foundations of test automation, because a lot of times we learn how to use these tools. We can even get a project up and running, but then the whole thing collapses and the initiative fails because there wasn't enough attention given to the foundational competencies of test automation. So this is going to be the very first course that's released. Setting a foundation for successful test automation. Let me give you a sneak peek at the chapters. The first chapter is going to be how to design an automation strategy. So this will cover various different automation strategies. It's not a one fits all type of thing. It'll cover what do you need to consider before you even get started, before you start looking into the tools and the techniques. What are some of the things that you need to consider to make sure that you're ready and you're prepared for this? Also, we'll look at good candidates for test automation. So sometimes we're automating too much, sometimes we're not automating enough. So we'll go over how do you decide what's a good candidate for test automation in your project. What layers to automate against? Everything doesn't have to be at the UI layer. There are other ways to do test automation that might be more efficient for you. So we'll cover that. And then also what platforms or environments or devices that you need to run against. There's a lot out of here. We cannot do it all most of the time. So it's nice to come up with a strategy based on the needs of your project. The next chapter is going to be on creating a culture of success in your organization. So you have your strategy figured out, but will it work? Is your company's culture one that is going to support your vision? So we'll talk about processes that help foster successful test automation, as well as team dynamics, such as who should be involved and how should they be involved, what role should they play. The next chapter is going to be on developing for test automatability. So these will be your initial technical considerations, how to make the application more automatable so that you're not struggling along in your journey. I can't tell you how many times I've seen test automations doing engineers doing their very best. They are coming up with very sophisticated automation frameworks, and yet they're still struggling because the application itself is not lending itself to be automated against. And so these are some technical considerations. Also, what are the practices that you can use to help your developers understand this and help them understand what's needed and how to make the app automatable? And then there's a chapter on tooling for test automation. So we'll talk about the architecture of an automation framework. What should be in your framework, right? You're just getting started, you're not sure. We'll talk about these different layers, different tools that you can incorporate, what's available out there and how they play together. What's the bare minimum you need, and what do you need once you want to increase the efficiency of your framework? And then we'll look at future proofing your test automation efforts. So we can do a really good job of getting those tests working, but then somewhere later down the line, we see that we start running into issues. And these are issues that could have been avoided had we known about these things up front. So we'll talk about some development techniques for test automation, some best practices, all the jazz about clean coding and good selectors and design patterns, all of that great stuff. And then another chapter on test automation optimization and scaling. So now you have a pretty solid framework. You have grown beyond the space where you just want to click the button on your machine and report the results to everyone via email. Now you want this stuff to be optimized. You want it to work within continuous integration. You want to make this scale across the company. So we'll talk about that in this chapter. And then the final chapter of that course is quantifying and sharing the value of test automation. A lot of teams have unrealistic expectations about their test automation initiatives. And so they're disappointed in what they receive. So this chapter is going to go through some of the misconceptions and tell you how you can identify and show the return on your investment early in the process before you even get started, so that you level set with your company, your team, so that everyone knows what it is that they're expecting from this and they can measure it accordingly. Now, that was the first course. That one is going to be released January 1st. We have other courses planned as well. We have 10 other courses, actually. So I'm going to go through the instructors in those courses now. So we have Dave Haeffner, who is a giant in the test automation space. He is the first person that I actually started following and looking to when I was a more junior test automation engineer. And so I subscribed to his Selenium newsletter. So he writes this newsletter that's filled with tips and tricks on how to use Selenium WebDriver. He also wrote a book, a Selenium guidebook, which is an amazing resource for test automation engineers. And he's a contributor to the Selenium project. So Dave has been around for a long time. He has a wealth of knowledge around Selenium, and he's going to give us a course on codeless test automation, which is where he's focused on now. So he has revamped and revitalized the Selenium IDE along with the other amazing contributors to that project. And so he's going to talk to us about that. Then there's a course called Whole Team Approach to Continuous Testing by Elisabeth Hocke. Now, Lizzie, she's interesting because she doesn't consider herself an automation engineer. And this is why I really wanted her point of view on Test Automation U. So Lizzie specializes in whole team collaboration. And while there is no automation expert on her team, they still get it done. And they do this by all contributing what they're good at. And I think that this could be a very valuable approach for a lot of companies who do not have automation engineers to focus on this effort, and they want it to be a collaborative approach. Now, Lizzie, while she might not consider herself an expert in test automation, she is a great teacher. She's a principal agile tester. She's an international speaker. She does workshops. She's a serial collaborator and learner. So she's done this really cool thing this year where she's done a tour, a testing tour, and has basically interacted with testers from different companies to learn how they do things. So I'm really excited about what Lizzie is going to bring to Test Automation U. And then we have Joe Colantonio. So Joe, he has a podcast called Test Talks. Joe probably knows about all of the tools that are out there, all of the different techniques, because he interviews people on this Test Talks podcast. And he blogs about these tools and techniques, and he's a great resource for letting us know what's out there. He also is a founder of the Guild conferences. So he has a conference that's online that's devoted to test automation. He has other areas as well with the Guild conferences, such as performance and security. So he's a very, very knowledgeable guy. And he's going to bring us a course that talks about testing in the real world. What are some success stories that we can learn from people? Because at Test Automation U, We want to make sure that we're not just providing you with theory, but also practical examples of what people are doing in the real world. Now, continuing with the theme of making sure we're addressing the real world problems, we also have Manoj Kumar. Manoj is a committer to the Selenium open source project. He's also an international speaker. He's one of the organizers of the Selenium conference, and he blogs about test automation, specifically around accessibility. So Manoj is going to bring us a course that's called an inclusive web for everybody, test automation for accessibility. So this should be really, really interesting. And we have Amber Race. Amber Race is a senior SDET at Big Fish. Amber is also an international speaker. She teaches workshops around performance testing and also APIs. And so she's going to bring us a course on performance testing tools and techniques preparing for the masses. And she's going to focus this on automation for performance testing, which I think is really cool. Then we have Jason Arbin. So Jason literally wrote the book on how Google tests software. He's the founder and he's CEO of Test.ai, which specializes in looking at artificial intelligence for testing and how it can assist testers. And he's developing a whole tooling around this. Now, while Jason has his own tool, he's also really big advocate of making sure that we're developing a lot of this stuff in an open source fashion where we all know what's going on and can contribute as well. So Jason has recently implemented a really cool AI element selector in the open source Appium project. So Jason is going to develop a course for AI element selection. And this is so cool. I've seen Jason talk about this. You know how you have a selector like select by XPath or select by ID. Jason is now inventing the select by AI. So that's really, really cool. And then I'm going to come to you again with more hands-on course. We're still planning courses that go over automation tools such as Selenium WebDriver, Cypress, and other new school techniques such as visual validation. So I'm going to release a course that's going to show you step by step how to integrate visual testing with Selenium WebDriver within your automation framework. And we also have Jonathan Lips. So Jonathan is the leader of the Appium open source project, and Appium is it's very similar to Selenium, but Selenium WebDriver is for web browsers, and Appium is for mobile apps. So mobile app automation. He's a former director at Sauce Labs, and now he's a consultant for all of your Appium needs. So Jonathan is going to develop a course on how do you incorporate visual validation within your mobile applications. And then there's Gil Tayar, who is a rockstar JavaScript developer and architect. What's really interesting about him is he is a developer, but is also focused on test automation. So he speaks about test automation for developers at conferences, and he blogs about this. So he's going to develop a course for front end developers that looks at test automation for things like Storybook and Cypress. And then we have Raj Arayal, who is a software developer. He's also a developer advocate. He used to work at Salesforce, and he's also a tech blogger. So he's going to come and talk to us about continuous integration, continuous deployment, UI version control, and root cause analysis for our test automation. So those are the courses that we have on the books right now, planned for the first half of 2019, but there's so much more to come. That's only the beginning. The vision here is to curate this into guided pathways. For example, if you're brand new to test automation and you're not really sure where to begin, we want to have a pathway for you, similar to college majors. This will be a recommendation of the courses that you should take and at which time on your journey. When is it an appropriate time to take this course? You've had this course, now we recommend this one, right? Same for others who are honed in to a specialty. So if you're using Selenium WebDriver, for example, we like to provide you with a pathway of courses to help you level up in using that tool. So this is something that we can only do once we have more courses provided, but believe me, it's definitely on the roadmap. Okay. Now, where is this thing going to live? So it is going to live at a website called testautomationu.com. And I'm actually going to show you the website now. Now, I'm going to give you a tour. Go ahead, if you have questions at any point, go ahead and put your questions in now, because I'm going to leave a nice amount of time for questions and stuff, okay? So let's go to the website now. So this is Test Automation U. I'm so excited. Um, this website is live now. So testautomationu.com. You can enroll. Now, this is just a shell for now, right? So while it's up and available and ready for you to enroll, the courses are not live until January 1st. So don't get in here thinking you're about to start taking a course right now. Make this a New Year's resolution for yourself. Enroll now, and then January 1st, you can come back, okay? But I do want you to come. I want you to click around. I want you to get a feel of the site, get accustomed to it, because on January 1, we're hitting the ground running, and I want you to be ready to take your first course on that day. So come now, get comfortable with the site. You all are testers. Let us know what's wrong with it. I'll have the engineers fix those things up so that we're ready to go. Okay. So little tour here. Here are the instructors. So you have all of them there. You can click on any one of them to see their bio and also which courses that they have created. In addition to that, we have all of the courses listed here. They'll be divided by school. So far we have 3 schools: the foundational test automation, we have real world problems, and we have automated visual testing. Like I said, we're going to provide a lot more schools and pathways for you all. So that'll be up and coming throughout next year. These courses, don't report this as a bug. They're not clickable. Why? Because they're not ready yet, right? So they're here just to let you know what's coming. They have a little coming soon label here. I did go ahead and provide you a little open house demo course just so that you can get a feel. So let's have a look at this. Now, this is the course. On the left-hand side, you'll see all of the chapters, and then the bulk of the content will be the course itself. Now, most of these courses will have a little video that gives instruction on the course, and then that video will be transcribed. So if you're one who prefers to read your material versus watching the video, you'll have that available as well. And we can continue to the next chapter in the bottom right corner or by clicking the links on the left. Now, every chapter will also have a quiz. And so you have to enroll to take the quiz. You can take the courses without enrolling, but that's no fun. To have fun, you need to enroll. So you take the quiz. And with the quiz, you will earn badges and you'll earn rank. So every course has a special badge for you. And so when you finish the course, you'll earn that badge. And I'll show you that a little later. So This is the second chapter. It talks about the courses. So I've walked you through all of this, which courses are going to be available. We have a little demo on the instructor. So I've talked to you about these wonderful people. These quizzes, this first little quiz, once you enroll, you can take this now. I made it dead simple, right? It's very, very easy because I want you to go ahead and get your first badge so you can get your points. The ranks. Let me talk about the ranks. These are so cute. So for every course you complete, you're going to get a badge, right? And that's on your profile page. I'll show you that in a minute. But then you also are leveling up and earning points towards ranks. So every quiz will give you some credits for your correct answers, and then you accumulate those credits, and then you level up. So all of the ranks are based on mythological creatures. And here they are. They're listed from lowest to greatest. So the first one is the unicorn. So everyone is going to start off as a unicorn. I know, right? Unicorns are unique, and yet we're all running around as unicorns. We thought that was pretty funny. So the unicorns are the innocent creatures. They're seeking knowledge. And so this is where we're all going to begin. Once you've earned more than 3,000 credits, then you level up to the Pegasus. The Pegasus has now earned its wings. It's soaring now. And then we have the Phoenix. So after you've earned more than 6,000 credits, you become a Phoenix rank. Now you're on fire. Then you level up to the Dragon rank. The Dragon is more than 9,000 credits, and you're no longer on fire. Now you're breathing fire. You're spitting fire. So you are really hot stuff. And then the Kraken. So this is our highest level now. You've obtained more than 15,000 credits. You graduate to the Kraken rank. You're a beast. You're a monster now at Test Automation. You're able to crush anything that comes your way. You've taken so many courses, right? And then let me show you the logged in version of this. So right now I'm not logged in, but notice everything was available to me. Now I am logged in on this one. And so I took the course for this chapter. So you see, once you take the course, you'll see, oh, you earned blah, blah credits. Okay. And I want to show you the ranks. So this is my profile page. Let me get this into view for you. All right. So this is my profile page. And notice here, I have my credits. So I only took one of the quizzes. So I earned my 100 credits. I have my rank as the unicorn. Here are all the badges that I haven't started yet that are up for grabs. And here's the badges that I have started, the open house one. And notice this is marked as incomplete because I only took one of the chapters. So once I finish taking the quizzes for the rest of the chapters, I'll earn this badge. And this will show you your completion percentage amongst all of the courses available to you. All right. So let me go back to that last chapter because there's a little cute surprise there. Chapter 5, swag giveaway. So we know that you love swag. We love swag. So we're going to have some cool merchandise such as the TAU hoodies, complete in like university theme. We'll have t-shirts, all that jazz. So let's go ahead and run our first contest now. One of our community members, Michael Rucker, he was so kind. He sent me a theme song that he has written to commemorate Test Automation U. And here are the words. And Michael he even performed the song, right? So I don't think you'll hear this if I play it. So you have access to this. You can play it yourself as an example. But here's the contest. The contest is I want you to take these words yourself, put them to your own tune, and tweet out a video of you or someone else who you know who has a better voice than you do to sing the song. And you can tag us at Test Automation U on Twitter with the hashtags Test Automation U and theme song. So this can be whatever you want. Michael did a country-like rendition of this. You can make it into a pop, or you can make it into a rap, whatever you're feeling like. Be creative and show us what you got, and we'll send you some cool TAU swag. All right. So now I'm going to open it up for questions. Adi, do we have any questions so far?
Yeah, we have loads of them, actually.
Hey.
So first of all, and I know that you repeated it a few times, but people are still very hung up on this. Is there a cost to these courses?
Courses. Great question. There is absolutely no cost to you. Every single course here is going to be free for you. This initiative is sponsored by Applitools. So they're picking up the cost for paying the instructors and getting the website. All of those things that you're typically paying for behind the scenes is being picked up by the company. So for you, there's no cost. You come in, you can take the courses without even enrolling really. But if you want to get into the game of it and get your points and your badges and your ranks and all of that, just enroll. We'll keep track of the things that you've taken. We'll be able to provide you with that pathway that you want. And it's at no cost. It's free.
So the next question was, how do we actually join a course or enlist in a course in Test Automation U?
Yeah. So by enrolling into the university, you'll have access to all of the courses here. So you just start taking the course. For example, say that I want to take this open house course. I click on it, it's there and available. I just start consuming the content. And to register your activity is by taking the quizzes, right? So once you're enrolled and you begin taking the quizzes, that's when we start tracking your progress in the course.
Can I connect my Test Automation U profile to any social media profiles and mainly LinkedIn?
Oh, that's really good thought. So we're still like brainstorming the whole social aspect of it. You'll definitely be able to share the courses that you're taking and when you earn a new badge and your progress and things like this. When you sign in, when you enroll, you can enroll with like your Google account or just your email address. But we'll look at maybe the potential of connecting it to maybe like a LinkedIn platform. That's a really great idea.
In addition to the badges, are there any certification programs that will be associated with Test Automation U that I can use in the future to show, for example, for potential employers or in job interviews?
That's a great question as well. There's a lot of debate in the community about certifications and their relevancy. And so there's been some discussion around that for Test Automation U. I do believe that we probably will, but it won't be anything that's paid for or anything like that, right? It'll have to keep with the same tradition of Test Automation U, where these courses are free for you to take. And once you've completed a certain pathway, for example, you've completed all of the courses in maybe like the Selenium WebDriver path or something like that, then I think that we'll look into generating a certificate for you so that you can show that you've done this work.
What skill levels are these courses geared toward?
That's an excellent question. So someone asked me when they first heard about Test Automation U, do I need the program to be able to come to this? No, this is going to be aimed at anyone and everyone who has any interest in test automation. So, of course, there are going to be some courses that are aimed for beginners. And let me show you here. We have little labels on them. So you'll see like beginner here. And we have some that are more advanced as well. So we'll provide courses that are at the levels that everyone needs. So I want to have programming courses here as well. So hey, I want to get into test automation. I don't know how to program. Where do I begin, right? We'll start you off with some foundational information and then gradually move you on to programming concepts and then getting into the tool of your choice and things like that. So it's going to be for anyone. If you already know test automation, maybe you want to come here to learn about a new technique or learn about a different tool. For example, I've been doing this 15 years. I don't know anything about test automation for accessibility. I don't know anything about test automation for performance. I'm just learning about visual validation. So all of these are concepts that even me, someone who's considered an expert in test automation, I can still learn from this platform.
And I have a follow-up question to that question. Will the learning path include some prerequisites, for example, Java, Git, etc.?
That's a great question. If we do provide, if we have like prereqs, we're going to try our best to walk you through that. So it might even be like a prereq course on how do you get started with with what's the IDE, IntelliJ, for example, or there could be some that might expand multiple things, like a setup type of thing. Here's how you install Git, or here's how you do these things. So that's a great observation. I'll bring that back to the team. We'll make sure that you're set up. We want to set you up for success. So if that means detailing how do you get started with these things before you're able to jump into the hands-on programming of a course, we'll make sure that you're set up.
Another question is, are we going to be taught how to program?
I want to include some courses here. Right now we don't have any, but that's a pathway that I want to include because there's a lot of people who want to get in test automation who don't have the programming skills. And so I'm going to look into recruiting folks. I know some great folks who have already produced courses on paid platforms around, okay, how do I use Java for test automation? It's a big language. Do I need to learn the whole language? And how do I know what to apply to what I'm doing in test automation? And so there's people who've already looked at this and solved this. And so I'm going to go out and try to recruit those folks, and I may contribute some as well because I did teach Java at the college level. So I can contribute there as well. So yes, there will be some courses. They're probably not going to be like generic programming courses. They're going to be scoped and targeted to test automation because that's our focus here.
Okay, I really like this next question. Will there be a community or a chat connection area on the university site so students can connect with each other?
Yes, great question. So that is something that is on our roadmap for our engineers to provide for test automation. So within the courses itself, I would love to have a little chat area where people can ask questions, and maybe the instructor answers it, or even other fellow people who are taking this course. Would it she mean at the 2-minute mark when she said X, Y, and Z? I'm a little confused, right? Somebody else can chime in and say, oh, this was my understanding. And the instructor herself can come and say, oh, this is some clarification on that, right? Also, I believe that we're going to have like these profiles. Different, we can see other community members and connect with them and see their ranks and their badges and their progress as well.
Next question. Are there any plans for training and coaching in environments that focus on API and services where no UI exists?
Great question. So test automation is not just limited to UI, right? There's other things you can do at the web services or the API level. So I would love to have a course on that as well. Amber Race, one of our instructors, she specializes in API testing. There are other wonderful people in the community. which reminds me, if you all have someone that you would love to have courses from, send me their name, and I will do my best to see if we can get them on board to provide some material for us. So to answer your question, yes, API course.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of questions, and people are asking, when is this going to actually launch? When will the
Okay,
course be available?
great. So the website itself, you can go to right now, testautomationu.com. Now, the courses are not live until January 1st. So there's this little notice here. So if you forget, come back here and there's this little notice right here. So the courses will launch January 1st, top of the new year. And that'll be the very first course. It'll only be this one. So let me rephrase that. When I say we're going to launch January 1st, that means our very first real course will be available. The rest of these will still be in coming soon status, and we'll try to release one or two of these every month, so you'll always have new courses coming at you.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that I shared the link to Test Automation U in the chat room, so
Okay.
everyone have access to that as well. So I'm sorry, I lost track of the questions. Are the courses going to be live or video recorded?
They're going to be video recorded, so we want you to be able to take this at your own pace. And we also realize that there's people who are interested in test automation all around the globe. We don't want you to have to log in at 2 a.m. to be able to take these courses. So the courses will be recorded videos that you can manage and take at your own pace.
Will there be any follow-up support or hands-on exercises or questions after completing a course?
The courses, that part is up to the discretion of the instructor. So we'll encourage our instructors to provide you with some additional resources that supplement the material that you've been taught. As far as exercises and things, it's not a requirement for the course, but it could be something that instructors might want to include themselves. So all of these instructors, they have their own websites and things like that, and so they may have additional materials that they'd love for you to have a look at.
Okay, another question that I got that we got quite a few versions of. Is there a way to retake a test after completing it?
Okay, so if you go and you take a quiz, right? Let's say that I answered one of these questions wrong. Now, this quiz is worth 100 credits. So if I get every answer right, I'll get the 100 credits. If I answer one of these questions wrong, I'm allowed to re-answer it, but the weight of it is no longer at 100. So you'll still be able to retake it, but you'll get less credits.
Next question. Angie?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, great. So the next one. Will we be able to contact an instructor for help or questions after the course or during the course?
Yes, so we'll provide like a comment section, and on each of the instructors' profiles, we'll provide like some contact information. So for me, this is my website. On my website, there's a contact us thing. So you might have to like go to their preferred method of content. We don't want to make them have to check into yet another thing because all of these folks are very busy, but they will provide you the best way to reach them. And that could be via email or Twitter or something, but all of them will have some way to contact them. It might just not be consistent across all instructors.
And another question that repeated itself quite a few times, is there any certain order we are supposed to take the courses, or we just pick it by ourselves?
Right. So right now there's only 11 courses. So we have these guided right now. So if, say for example, you're interested in learning about foundational test automation, then you can narrow this down to the ones that are for foundation. So these are the courses that we recommend if that's your interest. If you're interested in visual testing, these are the courses that are available. So you can take these in any order. What's coming later in 2019, as we develop more and more of these courses, we'll be able to put them into like a major, if you will. For example, I want to major in Selenium WebDriver, right? And so then I can say, okay, here should be your first course. You should probably take this foundational course. Then your next course, you should probably take an intro to programming course, right? And then your next course should probably be around, introducing you to WebDriver. And then we can add more and more advanced courses to further you along. We're not there just yet, just because we have a limited number of courses, but that's definitely the vision.
Another question that came up, how do I become an instructor?
Contact me. So if you want to email me, you can email me at angie.jones@applitools.com. Or you can reach out to me on any of the social channels. I'm on LinkedIn as Angie Jones. Here is my Twitter handle. So everyone's Twitter handle is right under their name on the website. And so you can reach out to me via DM. So if you have an interest in teaching a course, go ahead and send that to me. Now, I will say that we don't want this to just be a place where it's just a bunch of stuff thrown here, because that becomes the internet all over again. We have a clear vision of the pathways and the courses that we like. So we have a wish list of courses that we would love to have instructors for. So let me know what your interest is, and we'll see if there's a match.
Are there any plans to offer more tech-related deep dives, for example, XCUI, Espresso, Nightwatch, etc.?
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yes, that's probably going to be, I'll be honest, more than a year out, because there's so much that we need to add, as far as like the foundational levels and the major tools. But yes, like Nightwatch and XCUI test, I totally want to have stuff around that. I want to be able to provide a lot of options. There could even be a tools course that lets you know all of the different tools available, and then more deep dives on each of those tools could come later.
And another follow-up question to that, is it possible to suggest courses that are not available? And if yes, how do we do
Let
that?
me know what you want. So again, you can reach out to me via email or by reaching me on Twitter, or you can go to the Test Automation U handle on Twitter as well. And if there's some courses that you would love to see, let us know. If we see there's a high demand for that, we'll absolutely get those courses available for you.
Okay, so I just want to take a second, by the way, because I see a lot of people offering courses and ideas. So I just wanted you to know that I will send all your suggestions and offers to Angie after the session. And I'm also getting a lot of questions about the recording. So yes, this session is being recorded, and a link to the full recording plus Angie's slide deck will be emailed to you by Friday. So I just wanted to cover that for a second. Next question. Will the training include training and courses for various free as well as paid tools?
Great question. Yes. Depending on the popularity of the tool, right? So if it's a tool that is not, it doesn't have a lot of usage or whatever, and there's not a high demand for this, then we might not invest the time into actually developing that course. But if it's something that the community feels like, yes, we need to learn about this one. We understand that it's a paid tool, but we would love some information on how to use that tool, then we can definitely explore those options. Now, we want Test Automation U to remain community driven. We don't want this to become a commercial platform, so we don't want to spam you with a bunch of courses that are not what you want to see, basically, right? So if there's a demand for it, yes, it doesn't matter if it's a paid or a free tool.
Another one of my favorite questions: are there any plans to have branded swag with the Test Automation University brand on it? T-shirts or stickers or mouse pads, etc. for
Yes,
people that
yes. I love that question as well. So let me take you to the open house, and chapter 5 is the swag giveaway, and there's a contest already. So we're definitely going to have TAU hoodies, we're going to have t-shirts, stickers, all of that jazz. And this is your first opportunity to earn one. So if you want to perform a song, our little theme song provided by Michael Rucker, you can do that, and you can be the first person to have the TAU swag. But yeah, these will be available for everyone. Eventually, we'll probably even get to a point we have a little swag store on here that you can get your merchandise and stuff. So we'll have them at conferences and things that our instructors are going to. So yeah, there'll definitely be some swag.
That's awesome news. I love swag.
I do too.
Will the courses have transcripts to go along with them?
Yes. So for any course that has a video, we're going to also have editors to transcribe these videos and make sure they're readable. Because sometimes the way we talk isn't exactly, it doesn't lend itself well for verbatim transcription. So we're actually going to have some editors who work on cleaning it up, polishing it. We want to give you a very polished experience. So you'll have the video if that's your preferred way to learn, and we'll also have the transcript of the video. So if that is better for you, that's available too.
We did get a lot of questions about mock-up projects or websites that they will be able to work on as part of the courses, and I just want to pick one of those questions. Will there be a capstone project to build a framework from scratch to prove our newly found skills?
Oh, very cute. So we don't want to make the learning process too uniformed here, because each of these instructors have their own style. For example, Dave Haeffner, he has developed a training platform for test automation, a training website called The Internet. And he has all of these different things that you would see on the internet. So a lot of his exercises might focus on that. I have a little website that I made that I might use in some of my courses, or I might use Dave's The Internet, or I might use other things, right? So each of these people, Jonathan probably has some things for the mobile app stuff. So each of these people, they have like their own resources for you to use. I'm sure they'll make these freely available for you.
Next question. Will we have access to download the tools that you will be teaching, even if they are commercial tools? I guess they're talking about free downloads or free trials.
Okay, right. That's a great point. We'll look into if anyone is providing a course that is talking about a tool that requires you to pay for it. If as part of this course they would allow for a free trial or something like that for the course. I don't foresee there being a lot of courses that are aimed towards tools that you have to pay for at the jump, right? So to take this course, the tool is going to absolutely have to be available to you to be able to take the course free of charge. We don't want you to have to pay anything like books, like a book fee or anything like that to be able to complete the courses. So if that's what's required to be able to use the course, then yeah, we'll make sure that that's available for you.
Another question that we got quite a lot, so I just wanted to mention this. I added in the chat room a link to Test Automation U Twitter profile. So that's at Test Automation U, one word. So I think that Angie, for any updates and course launches, will be announced on our Twitter feed. So they're more than welcome to follow us there as well, right?
Exactly. And when you enroll for the course, we'll also keep you updated with a newsletter. So as new courses are available, we can update you that way as well.
Great. So next question. Will the courses cover multiple languages aside from Java, for example? What about Python and Ruby?
Yes, yes. So when we look at, for example, so the visual validation course that I'm doing is going to have to pick one language to be able to show you that example, right? So that one is probably going to be in Java. Nikolai has also made a course in with visual validation for C#, for example. So we might look at bringing something like that over. We'll also have in our programming track, we'll have getting started with Java or getting started with Python or C#. So you can pick a language you like to get started with. So some of the courses may just by nature be scoped to one specific language, but in general, we'll have coverage on different languages for different courses.
Okay, so we are at the top of the hour, but I have 3 questions that are related to one another, and I would love it if we could just cover those, take a moment to cover those.
All right.
So first of all, how long are these courses? How long are the chapters? How long does each course take to finish?
Okay, very, very good question. So the chapters, again, up to the discretion of the instructor, but we are aiming for each chapter to be like around the 7 to 10 minute mark, so that you have nice consumable amount of content and it's not overwhelming. So if you have 10 minutes today to devote to chapter 2, for example, you can go ahead, go through that, take the quiz, and maybe come back tomorrow when you have 10 more minutes to do the next chapter. So we don't want them to be like hours and hours long, right? The courses could be really small if they're just a small bit of information. So they could be as few as 3 chapters, or they could be maybe 10 chapters. It really just depends on the topic. But I would say average, a course might be an hour.
Is there any time limitation to complete the courses?
No limitation on the time. We want you to take your time, do it at a pace that's comfortable for you. If it takes you a month to go through a course, that is totally your business. If it takes you a year to go through a course, that's your business as well. No judgment here.
And last question, I think that you did cover it, but we did get it a few more times, so I do want maybe to finish with it before we finish the session. Can courses be taken randomly, or will one existing course completion will be a prerequisite for another?
Oh, good question. So you can take them as you want. When we do provide the pathways, that'll be later in 2019 when we have the pathways for you. But when we do provide the pathways for you, then you can use our recommendation. We'll say, we suggest you take this, followed by this, followed by this, right? Now, our suggestion is going to assume that you're coming at this with no knowledge, right? We don't want to make assumptions that you know everything. But Some of you are more skilled. You've been doing this for a while. Maybe you don't need the introduction to Selenium WebDriver. Maybe you want to skip ahead to the 5th course in the series because that's the level where you are. That's totally fine. So we'll provide a recommendation, but you're not forced to take the prerequisite courses. You can take them as you want to.
We unfortunately we are out of time for today's session. So I just wanted to mention a few quick things. So definitely follow Test Automation U on Twitter for more announcements and course launches in real time. We will update stuff over there. I saw all your comments, suggestions, and to Angie, and I will send it to her immediately after the session. So she's going, if you have anything else that you want to tell Angie, now is the time to mention that in the questions panel. I promise that she's going to see every single comment that you had. And yeah, I want to thank everyone that joined us today for this live session, and of course thank Angie not only for this session but for this really brilliant initiative. And thank you, and I hope to see you at our next event.
Thank you, everyone.